The following program is hosted by immature, irreverent, obnoxious, and often disgusting young men. Listener discretion is advised.
This time on Nude Clan, we finish the fight.
Shall we play a game?
You got several things to do. You got work, kids in school. What do you do when it's all over?
How do you hand something from one player to another?
Turn on the TV, pick up the controller and play some games with the new clan.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nude Clan, the video game podcast that only reviews Halo games. I am your host,
That's not true.
Caleb.
Zach!
I'm Joe.
I'm A4.
Today, guys, if you couldn't tell because you're too stupid to read, we're reviewing Halo 3.
Halo 3. The classic Xbox 360 game from 2006, I want to say. 2007.
Yeah.
And that should be a good time. Shit, how do we do this?
Maybe we should start talking about the game because
Yeah, we should just start talking about the game. Guys, what's your history with Halo 3?
Halo 3 I got growing up on Christmas I always asked for a game system. And I never got it because we were poor. And I'd get used game systems from like Game Crazy and stuff like that's what would happen. Which is fine.
Yeah.
And it's cool and I loved it. But the very first new system I got for Christmas was a 360. And I got Guitar Hero 3 and a couple other games, but not fucking Halo 3. Which Santa knew was on the list and he didn't get. No, it's cool. So like I got my aunt knew. I was like, how did you know I was getting an Xbox 360? Do you know Santa? Like being a dick because my mom was like, as soon as you stop believing in Santa, you're not gonna get gifts from Santa. And I was like, I'm gonna believe until I'm dead because that's what you set the bar as. I went to go get it, and it was sold out. I went to go return a game my aunt gave me for Christmas, and it was sold out. And eventually I did get it. After making the Walmart employee go up back. And he's like, no, we still don't have it. So we go look. We don't have it. Like,
Will you please go look?
go look!
You're one of those. You're one of those people.
But he
That fucking what? Oh, fucking what
found a
SpongeBob episode is it
box.
like? Do you have any salt? No. Can you check?
Can you check in the
No.
back?
Dude, nothing pisses me off more. It's your fucking job! Do it! I collected action figures for a long time. Still kind of do, but not as much as I used to. And it's like, hey, you got this? No. Now, fuck, your app says you do. Let's go fucking look.
I've worked in a grocery store a couple times, and I got to tell you, like, just because it's back there doesn't mean we can actually find the fucking thing. It's like a pile of shit.
At least humor. That's what I do at work. I humor people. I'm like, yeah, I'll go check. I don't think I have this, but I'll go look. And I'll just walk back there and like play on my phone for a second.
And that's why I had to switch careers.
And I'll know that I don't have it. I'm like, sorry.
So, customer service, not for me.
It's hard. It is hard on the soul.
So you eventually got the 360. Did you
Did-
have friends come over or anything like
Yeah,
that?
I do play it online. Like, so I used
Oh,
to.
you played on Xbox Live.
Yeah, well, no. So, no, it was multiplayer with friends. It was couch co-op with friends.
Okay.
And so, like, we play online. Going over to my cousin's house, like, was kind of a big deal because I used to spend the night there a lot. It'd be me, him, and his little brother. So at the time, we were, like, young. So his little brother was, like, 6 or 7. Like, or 5. He was really little. Mm-hmm. And so he would screen peek us online. And so we would make him play the controller that was hooked into the Xbox. So if we knew he was cheating, because we'd come, like, run up behind him, and he'd turn around and shotgun us. And so we would unhook his controller and throw it across the room. And he would go, I'm telling Mom! And he would run away as we're, like, fucking him up in the game. And then he would come back, like, crying. And we're like, we're plugged in. You're fine. And we just keep doing it because he's a little prick. He kept
Nice.
watching us, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun. Started a lot of family fights.
I had a lot of Halo parties, and we occasionally played Halo 3. It was just easier to kind of get Halo 2 going. But when enough of the people showed up who had 360s and enough controllers were there, then we
Shit
would,
got buck wild.
then we would start playing Halo 3, which is really great
Is-
multiplayer experience.
Is 3 the one where they started doing customizable armor, right? Or is that 2? I never played 2 or 1 online. The only ones I played online was 3.
1, you could switch the color up.
Right, but
Yeah.
like 3 was like one where it's like, oh, get the Hayabusa armor and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah,
right?
it must
I'm
have
not
been.
sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've never messed around with the armor in the game, like, ever. So I've never gotten that
Yeah.
deep in the multiplayer. I was always, just because of my situation and never having a 360 at the time,
Right.
like, I just never got into Halo 3 as much as Halo 2. But it was always a good experience, and it was always a game where I was like, someday I'll play that campaign and finish the fight. And that day was like 3 weeks ago. So
Yeah, A4 was telling me when we started playing it, he's like, I think you're the only one that's actually beaten the campaign before. And I was
Yeah.
like, what? I
yeah,
was like, I thought for sure.
yeah, I played like the beginning couple levels, but that was
Dude,
it.
I actually, so with gaming, I never really played online until I met Cameron. Like, Cameron was like, hey, get on with Jake. Like, you get my buddy Jacob. And like, we should all play. And I was like, cool, whatever. Then I got really into it. But before then, I was like, fuck multiplayer. I'm all about the story. So, like, for a long time, like, I never, like, the only games I played online before them, like, I never played in chats with people. Like, I got hardcore into Call of Duty.
It's because until like the last like 4 years, it hasn't been easy to do the fucking chats.
Right.
I don't know why that technology took 12 million years to catch up.
Before I left on my like mission, I got like hella excited. I wasn't working because I was taking care of my grandma, who was really sick. And then when she passed away, I was like, oh, I have it. So I'm leaving in April, but I don't want to get a job and like whatever. Like I want to enjoy my life before I leave. So like, dude, I got hardcore into Call of Duty, and I was just like, fucking god level at that game. Like it was. I wish it would have been Halo, but my 360 had broken by that point with the Red Ring of Death. But like,
Nice.
I miss those nights.
R.I.P. All the 360s on the Red Ring of Death trash pile.
I tried everything too. They're like, oh, wrap a towel around it.
Wrap a towel That's hilarious.
There's
Wrap
there's
it in tinfoil.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Cameron's mom.
A4, did you ever play it?
Yeah, Halo 3 was probably one of the only ones that I actually had a decent amount of multiplayer experience with. I would go over to my brother's place and play it a bunch when I was in college. Not a crazy amount, but enough to like kind of get a feel for a lot of these weapons, like the spiker and the hammer and stuff like that. Some of the new weapons to the game.
Spoiler, the brute weapons are some of my favorites in this game. I love the spiker. I love their shotgun.
Yeah.
That's weird.
The brute shot's great too.
God.
That was also in Halo 2. So
The brute shot's better in this one. I think it doesn't bounce as much as it does in number 2.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I fucking love the fuel rod cannon.
In the campaign, in multiplayer, that's kind of a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah, well, it's like the Spartan laser. Like, we're gonna put the
nail.
Spartan laser, and you're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Why would you put that in here?
Schweiss, your experience with Halo 3?
So with Halo 3 for me, my buddy, my old roommate, had a 360, and I was always the PS3 guy. We won in the end, but yeah, it took a while. But anyway, he was really into Halo 3, and I started getting into Halo 3 quite a bit too, and I would play while he was at work. And I think that's the only game I've gotten a pentakill in was Halo 3, and it was during SWAT, so it's not very hard to get. But I laid down the law on all those guys. I never really played the campaign. I tried to do it when I was borrowing Dylan's Xbox 360 for. It was when I was playing Fable 3 for the podcast. I also had a copy of Halo 3, and I was trying to play it on Legendary by myself, but I only got past the first area in the first level. Or no, I think I beat the first level. I got out of that area and got airlifted away. That's it. I couldn't play it by myself, so I kind of stopped playing it for a long time. But it was always kind of the one that I had heard a lot of good things about, but I had never really played too much of myself. Because I always, like I said, I had the PS3, so my Xbox 360 knowledge wasn't quite as up to snuff as it could have been.
Right.
So Halo 3 is kind of the one that I almost sort of missed, and I only played a little bit because of my buddy owning it. But that's kind of it for me. So this is the campaign and everything like that. That was an whole new experience on my end. I had never touched the campaign of Halo 3, so a lot of new stuff for me.
Yeah. So Halo 3 came out in 2007, September 2007, 25th or 26th, depending on where you are from. And of course, now we get it. We played it on the Master Chief Collection, which is available on PC or on the newer Xboxes. And it was in case you live in a cave or if you're younger or something like that, it was a massive game.
Yeah, it was huge.
Like, groundbreakingly huge game where, like, people who don't know about video game culture, like, it kind of reached past that. Mm-hmm. I think it sold, like, 14 million copies is what I read on Wikipedia.
It was anticipated. It really was, because like by that point they still are a juggernaut. Like, Halo
well, of course it was anticipated. It was there was a giant cliffhanger at the end of Halo 2. Everyone wanted to know
where are
what
you
happened
going,
next.
sir? To finish the fight.
Halo 2 was a huge hit. Remember, that one sold like 8 million copies.
Yeah, that one's.
And then Halo 3 is like Xbox 360 launches, and then you got Halo 3.
Yeah.
And so, like,
that was one of their flagships, right?
It
had to be.
flagship,
Right, yeah.
the flagship. So Xbox 360 launches, and then you're gearing up for Halo 3. And Halo 3, I guess, when it comes out, it had 1 million people on Xbox Live the week that Halo 3 came out,
insanity,
which is crazy. Like, this thing really, it did what Halo 2 did, and it just like bumped it up to the next level, and it was the next gen. I mean, it outsold it. It was everywhere. Like,
that
people,
that must have been like the moment of peace before everyone started playing Pokemon Go for that week. Like, that was
exactly
that
what
was
that
the
was.
peaceful thing. It's like, oh, all these people on Halo.
And I
Well,
remember
They were
also-
still yelling slurs
That was
and
a
saying
weird
they were
year
going
too,
to fuck
because
your
that was
mom.
the same
But you
year
didn't
that
care.
Modern Warfare came out. So like Halo 3 comes out and gets everyone playing on 360, but then Modern Warfare kind of comes out and like changes the game for online multiplayer. Not that Halo 3 wasn't popular, but like you definitely had like
Modern Warfare or
people
Modern
who-
Warfare 2 did. I feel like Modern Warfare was a big hit, and everybody was like,
But
"Oh,
2
this
was
is
the
great." But I
best.
think 2 was the one where the online multiplayer like surpassed Halo 3.
No, what I mean is like people who were used to playing Halo then got Modern Warfare and were like, wow, this game is like way faster. You definitely had people who were like fonder of Modern Warfare than Halo 3.
That's true.
But that was a huge fucking year for shooters.
And I was always on the
regardless.
Halo team for that. At least in the multiplayer. The story of Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4, is really good. So
I've actually been wanting to go back and replay. I never beat the third game, so it came out when I was in the UK and I couldn't play video games. So like, I want to go back.
you want to go back and play Call
But I
of Duty.
wanna- I
That's
wanna
what
do
we'll have
2.
to do next year.
Yeah, all the Call of
Play all the
Duties.
stories.
Oh no. That's a lot of games.
But they're not that long. I only want to do Modern
That's
Warfare. I'll do Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, then 3, because I never finished 3 and I want to.
And then Modern Warfare. The other Modern Warfare. So I was looking up some. I didn't have that much time to look up that much making of stuff, but development started right after Halo 2 launched.
That makes sense, because they ended the clearing and they knew what they were going to do.
Yeah.
They 100% knew.
Yep, and apparently they had some issues in the story department. I didn't really start reading too much into that, but whoever was the main writer on it wasn't that happy. The music, they hired a 60-piece orchestra, which is massive. Like this, oh my god! Like
But it
it was
pays
so much. It was so much like bigger on the music side.
And you can tell, like the music in 3 is beautiful.
The music in 3 is absolutely incredible, and so they really just went all out with it. And of course, it was the next gen, so like the graphics. I think the biggest difference, and we'll get into it, is kind of like those textures, like the lights and stuff. Like the shininess of the remakes of the original Halos is like, this is where that started. Like Halo 3 came out and it's like, look what we can do with lights on the 360.
I kind of wish they would have remastered the third one, because like the cutscenes are so beautiful in the new 2 and 3. Like, again, I love the old graphics, and they're pinnacle. But the new ones are so cinematic. They're just good looking. I wish they would do just because I want to watch cutscenes. Just because I want to rewatch them. I just want to rewatch the
Just to
cutscenes.
watch cutscenes.
And the new one, I'm like, oh my god, it's so pretty.
Yeah, and it is quite a step up from Halo 2. Like, if you're going from like OG Halo 2 to OG Halo 3, you're like, oh my goodness, this looks way better.
Right? Yeah.
So
There were
that's
Johnson's eyes that looked like they were bugging out. Like, to me, like it looked like they were like his skin was like too
Oh,
sunken in
yeah.
his eyes, and he was like, Like, come on, G, let's go. Like they were just huge. Like
it took me a second to recognize who that was. By the way, the design changed enough where I was like, "Is that?"
It's because his eyes were huge.
Is that Johnson? That is Johnson. Okay.
His eyes were bugging out like that one picture that Cameron kept sharing in the fucking group chat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With the guy with his like eyelids peeled back.
Yeah, they were like, it was crazy.
So the story of Halo 3 takes off right after Halo 2, where Master Chief is he crash lands to Earth. And then the Arbiter's there, and he thinks he's an enemy for a second. And he tries to shoot him.
How disrespectful though, because he puts the barrel into his mouth, through his flaps, and it's like, oh, you're a dick. He's gonna taste that for weeks.
The prophet of the
Truth, isn't it?
Covenant,
Truth, yeah,
is trying to get a MacGuffin from Earth that may or may not exist on Earth, and so the Covenant are going after that, and then
because they find Earth on accident, if you remember from the second game, and it's like, oh shit, this shit's here.
Yeah, and so the Covenant are coming, but the elites are with the humans, and they're helping out the humans
because they got fucked over the second game, as we remember.
And I believe, what the heck is it? So the guy's trying to. I can't remember if he knows he's going to do it or not, but he's going to wipe out the entire by using this ancient tool.
Yeah, no, he doesn't know. He still thinks he's going to open the passage to the great beyond.
Okay,
because he's still saying that. He's like,
all
no,
right.
we're on a great journey. This is what we're doing.
But what'll actually happen is they will disintegrate all life in the universe.
Right. It'll activate. It's the fail-safe button to reactivate the Halos.
Yeah,
is what this ends up being. That he doesn't believe it. He thinks they're being lied to because he's a dickhead.
And so the Flood are spreading, and then Master Chief, in order to stop all this from happening, has to destroy another Halo in order to do that.
Yeah. There's a lot of callbacks to the first game in this one.
Honestly, it's just like Return to the Jedi. They're building another Halo and like all this.
Yeah,
it's true.
You gotta go get this. You gotta go destroy the new
and
Halo.
You get to well, it's really like Return to the Jedi because they get to the Ark and then City's like, your friends are gonna find out it's fully operational.
It's
and then
fully
he's like, fuck another
operational.
Halo. It's like, shit.
It's fully operational.
So it's kind of funny. We were playing an A4, accidentally pressed spacebar, and he missed the whole cutscene where the Prophet gets the ship and like it decimates like New Mombasa.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's the first one.
Or
this new city, the second city, because you're still on the outskirts of New Mombasa again. But it
like the
decimates,
giant fucking portal.
where it like
thing
shoots.
opens
Yeah,
up
he
over
missed
the-
that, and he like we get this. Like, where the fuck are the Flood here? I was like, what happened?
I fucking
He's like, I didn't watch
was
time.
going
I
to
went to
alt
the
tab to
bathroom.
check something, and I hit space by accident. It just completely like skipped that whole cutscene. I'm like,
So
cool.
I come back from the bathroom. I'm like, I go to the bathroom. I'm reaching his cutscene, like whatever, So he does that, and I come back, and he's like, okay, what's going on? And I was like, you didn't watch cutscenes for you, like self-explanatory. And he's like, no, I hit the space button. It's like, oh, we're fighting the Flood now. The
Flood are here. Flood are here now.
Something I hate actually. If we're gonna talk about this,
Oh,
I
also
hate,
Cortana's gone. But
go ahead.
Cortana.
Cortana,
Yeah.
I hate how ineffective human weapons are against the Flood. Like,
Oh, the
if you-
shotgun's great.
Yeah, but that's it.
Shotgun and
If
sword.
You go to kinda.
Shotgun's great against everybody though.
But like, what I hated is like I'd have to activate. And the good thing I played is the Arbiter because I was second player for A4. Like, good thing because I had my plasma, little rifle. So I'm like, like 4 hits and they like fall apart, and I was like, sick. With the machine gun, like the BA, I was like emptying clips into him. Like I'm hitting you like in the face. Like,
Yeah, the BR is not as effective.
no. But
No. Yeah, the other part of the story is that Cortana has been stolen by the Covenant.
and she
Yeah.
is really annoying.
Well, no,
And
you left her at the end of the second game. Remember, you left her
Oh,
behind.
you
left her in
there.
High Charity.
So she's with the Covenant.
Oh, she's with the High Mind.
Hive Mind.
She's with the Hive.
The Gravemind took
Yeah.
over
Gravemind, yeah.
took over High Charity.
Right.
And the whole time you're having like flashbacks to Cortana.
It's not even flashbacks. Like she's like hacking into you because like you see her and she's
Yeah.
talking things
Yeah.
to you, and you're like, stop it.
She's trying to tell you that you can basically destroy this thing without.
And then you also get the Gravemind doing it too, and you're like, just fucking stop. Stop slowing me down.
Everybody's hacking into my
Yeah.
mind.
Slowing me down.
Which is really interesting. It's like really interesting first-person narrative thing that they're doing with Halo 3 that the other two didn't do, where like you're actually seeing what Master Chief is seeing outside of like gameplay.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. What did you guys? Sorry, my story explanation is not that great, but what did you guys think of the story?
It was good. man, I don't know. Like, it was
It's
fun.
good, but it definitely, like, now that you've told me that it's basically just the third act of Halo 2, it feels like that for
Halo
sure.
1. It does, well, especially because the last level is you driving away in a Warhawk.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. And I still enjoy it. So, fun fact. When we played Halo 1, I messed up. I mixed Halo 3 and Halo 1.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, yeah, there's all these, like, falling platforms. And everyone's like, really cool. And then it didn't happen. And I was like,
It's just the hallway.
oh, yeah, that's Halo 3.
It's the hallway, the drop, and then the other hallway.
This is a much better Warthog run at the end of the game, but that's because the tires in the Warthog in this game have traction. So
Yeah.
Except if you run over a flood and they go poof and they pop and your Warthog goes flying in the air and you're like,
even then, like, we kept rolling it over completely where we just, like, didn't have to get out and flip it. So it's like, oh, neat.
Yeah, in one, it's just made of paper. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
It's those Nintendo Labo. That's what it
So
is. It's
what?
freaking
I want to know what
Labo.
you guys like honestly thought because I beat the game before, so I knew what to expect.
Yeah,
What-
so I'm wondering what you thought.
Oh, so you're asking me.
Yeah.
I liked it. I mean, I think it holds up still.
Yeah?
It does. I mean, it's still like I forgot that Miranda died.
Mm-hmm.
Keys.
Yeah.
I totally forgot that happened. I knew Jar Johnson died. I knew that, but I just hadn't remembered like her. Like when she died, I was like, oh fuck. I was like,
Yeah.
I forgot she.
Now I don't have to hear her bad voice acting.
Yeah,
ever
She got
again.
they're atrocious voice acting anymore.
It's not atrocious. It's not great.
I had fun.
Oh
Like
my
a lot of
God.
fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was pretty underwhelmed
Yeah.
by the story of this game. I really enjoyed the levels and everything like that. And it is just a third act. It's just like straightforward kind of thing. And then of course, midway through the game, just like the other two games, the flood's going to show up. And you maybe learn a little bit more about the world. Obviously, it didn't stick to me very well because I'm honestly just having trouble I can't remember the thing that they're looking for.
The arc.
The arc. That's what it was. Thank you.
By the way, Zodi in the chat says good night.
Okay.
Sweet dreams, sweet prince.
Callbacks to previous episodes. So I liked it though. Like I liked you and the Arbiter teaming up. I thought that was cool. Sergeant Johnson's sacrifice and all that stuff. I thought it was good.
Dude, that still
what?
makes me just as mad as it
And-
did when I played it the first time.
And 343 Guilty Sparks like turning on you right at the end. I thought that was like actually like a really good ending to the entire trilogy.
yeah, I mean, like to be fair though,
Yeah.
too, like
Yeah.
what I thought then is what I think now is like I should have seen it coming
Well,
because I didn't.
I
like-
thought he was a bad guy the whole time.
Because he was helping
Yeah.
me, so I'm like, whatever. And then he's like, "You're going to destroy the system," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, he's still a cunt." Like,
Yeah, he's just like he was in Halo 1.
Yeah.
Or he's just
Yeah,
like he
yeah.
has his own like directive, and you are not. You are just a tool to him.
I kind of wish we would have actually gotten to fight the Gravemind.
Yeah, the grave mine. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I think that would have been sick.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. They did what they did. They ended the Covenant conflict until Halo 4, and then like, whatever. Like,
I don't know.
So I'm a Covenant or in Halo 4. So I'm excited to play Halo 4, which I mean,
Yeah.
I think we plan on doing. I'm gonna go through and do it because I hate the fucking flood, and so I'm like, God, it's just
I kind of love the flood and like
The
and the
bullet sponges,
flood
I hate 'em.
are way more difficult in this game.
Oh,
than-
yeah.
Oh, dude, there's different, like so many different variations.
The little ones are harder to
We
kill.
were playing that last level where you're trying to get up the tower to get to the control room,
Dude, we
and
died
there's
so
just
many
a
times.
million fucking floods
That
coming
one was
after
a
you.
slog.
And I told Zach, man, that was a marathon.
What difficulty did you guys play this on?
Just normal.
Normal?
Yeah, dude. No, we must have died like 6 or 7 times on the run up to
These
that
little
tower.
bastards kept coming with shotguns. I'm like, oh, I'm like running, I'm like serpentining, and then one would like hit the ground and be like,
What'd you play it on,
shotgun.
Schweiss?
Me, Jake, and Dead Islander played it on Legendary.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I thought.
badass.
Yeah, I played the
Yeah.
first few levels with you guys on
We
Legendary.
we were killing
And
it
it's
on
great because
Legendary, yeah.
Legendary doesn't. It's not like other games where it gets like more when you get more people in your team.
Stays the
it
same.
It
Yeah.
stays the same. So you got 4 people instead of 1, so it's nice.
It's really hard with one though. I
I played it on normal, and the level called Cortana.
Oh yeah, that was rough.
Is that the one inside the flood?
I kid you not, dude. I was pulling my hair out on this game and in the Cortana level, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm playing this on easy." And I played that level on easy.
That is
Is
the
that
one where
you're
you're
like inside Gravemind?
Yeah.
basically?
Yes,
That's the one. Yeah.
it's the asshole tunnel.
Asshole.
See
Oh,
it
yeah,
tested.
the sphincter tunnel level.
Open
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the story. For this one, I didn't listen to podcasts or anything in the background. I wanted to pay attention to it because it'd been so many years, and I've been looking forward to this day, basically, to be able to finish the trilogy. And I think it was a satisfying ending. I think actually, the ending with him going off in the ship and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. So I think, yeah, it was good. I don't think it was as good as Halo 1 or 2, the story for me, but I think it was solid.
I kind of feel
solid
like
ending.
that's the general consensus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
It definitely felt a little lacking in the story department. There are also just some parts that I found hard to follow. Like they're gonna activate that last Halo on Earth, and it's gonna create a portal somehow or something.
I'm
You know what I mean?
not going to try to explain anything because I'm going to get just as lost. There are definitely some lore things where maybe I just need to play them again to kind of get them, which you would.
should
Back
read
in
the
the day,
books.
you'd play it in normal, and then you'd be like, now it's time to play it on Legendary or
Yeah.
whatever.
You should read the books. I think the books are kind of fun. Some of them are really fun.
Never
Yeah.
going to read the books.
I'm never going to read the books
There's
either.
some good books.
Gay.
It's okay. It's all right, Zach.
They're
He's
good
just
books.
a dick.
They're good books. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm glad you enjoy. Someone has to read them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some losers.
I think the world is actually really cool.
It's sweet.
And I don't feel that way. I don't usually get into the lore of video games. I remember as a high schooler, I did look things up in Halo.
Dude,
and I used to be pretty nerdy about
I
it.
love getting into the lore of the stuff. These
So-
games. If I really get into it, it's so fucking fun.
Yeah. So I kind of dig that. And I thought it was satisfying. I just don't think it didn't have the dramatic pull that 2 or 1 had.
And then we started talking about story.
Yeah.
It ends on a fucking cliffhanger again.
Does.
He's like,
Kind of.
wake me up when you need me.
But I knew come on, he's Master Chief. He's gonna
if you beat it on
It's less of a
Legendary, it's-
cliffhanger and just more we can make more of these if we need to, which we will.
Yeah. We're gonna make two spin-offs and then
I believe
then Chief's story.
because ODST is a prequel, and I believe Reach is a prequel to all 3 of the Halos, right?
Reach is a prequel to 3 Halos. ODST is set during 2, but a prequel to 3.
Okay, yeah.
So ODST basically caps off because when you get back to New Mombasa in 3, it's destroyed. In ODST, you find out how that happens.
Yeah.
So you're playing as the ODSTs that are getting shot down.
Yeah, I thought
As
ODST
soon as, when
takes place
when the ship,
the ships jump.
yeah, the ship jumps and it blows in the cinematic. It blows you off course, and so you lose your team, and so you're trying to find your team.
Okay. Well, we'll get to all those.
Actually, question I was going to ask: are we going to have to play the RTS, the Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2?
I kind of want to.
I kind of want to.
Fuck. Okay, I played it when I was not really into RTSs, so I was kind of bad at it. So I'll try.
Okay.
I'll try it again.
Have you gotten into them?
No,
Are those freely available on PC or?
they might be.
One is, I think 2 is in the Microsoft Store.
2 I really
One's on
wanted.
Steam, though.
2 I really wanted to Halo Wars 2 I really wanted to play because the bad guy looks cool. The lore, dick. I'm just kidding. The ones are sick. There's the Halo Wars 1 goes more into the Arbiter and stuff. It's awesome.
What?
I'm telling you to scoot your chair forward.
Oh,
Sorry, guys. Schweiss, what do you think of the story?
I think you guys are crazy. I think the story's great in this thing. I really liked the whole cryptic messages from Cortana, and then you're just trying to get her back, and I thought it was a really cool reunion. Plus the part where you forge a covenant with the Flood to take out the fucking.
Oh, yeah.
That was fucking awesome.
That was
That
cool.
was a cool spot.
The
Yeah.
enemy of our enemy, and you're like, fuck.
And then he betrays you right afterwards, and you got to kill all
Dude,
the Flood off.
immediately after,
Yeah.
he's like, hey, we killed him.
I thought that was fucking sweet. So yeah, I don't know, man. I think this is a great.
So I'm
Cap
not gonna
to the
say
whole
don't like
thing.
the story, but to me, the Halo trilogy plays exactly like the Star Wars trilogy, the original, because it's New Hope,
Great.
amazing movie. Empire Strikes Back, the best.
Some people think it's better.
I love
yeah.
it. I love Empire. And then Return of the Jedi isn't. I kind of have a love hate because I kind of there's parts where I really
There's
love
things
Return of the
where,
Jedi.
yeah.
And there's parts where I'm nah. But the Halo, I think the Halo trilogy is the same way because they're all great. I'll sit down and watch fucking the original Star Wars just all day long.
Yeah.
I'd go back and play these again.
Yeah.
This is what it is. That's how I feel the grading scale is. 100%. It's Halo to Star Wars.
Yeah, I think it.
Yeah, they're exceedingly entertaining. It's just that like this one feels a little weaker because it doesn't really have as much going on story wise because it is just a resolution
It's
of
a
what
payoff,
happened last
yeah.
time.
Yeah,
It's a big payoff.
big payoff. You're right. I would give the story a solid. I'm going between 7 and 8. I think I gave Halo 2 an 8. I think I'm going to give this one a 7. Really solid story. Really good cap off the whole thing. I don't think it quite has the dramatic pull that the other two did, but it doesn't matter. It's still really good. So
A4, what are you going to give the story?
I think I'm going to mirror his 7. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of elements I like about it. I like the whole Cortana getting like corrupted thing. I remember back, and I didn't know much about the Halo lore back in high school, but like when this was coming out, my friend had like talked about a leaked Halo 3 script where it was all about like Cortana becoming a rampant AI because that's all Bungie ever writes about.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's like tinges of that like original script getting into Halo 3 that actually released. Yeah, I like the story a lot. I just think it's a little weaker in terms of just like sheer dramatic, like the stuff that happens in this doesn't feel nearly as dramatic as what happens in Halo 1 and 2. And I guess, again, just by virtue of it being the resolution to what happened in 2.
it also feels shorter than Halo 2.
It's way shorter.
It is shorter than Halo 2. We looked it up.
Okay.
Because we always beat these
Even
the
from a
last minute.
gameplay
We have to
standpoint, there's
look
only
up
11
how long
missions
it
in this, and I think the epilogue counts as one of them, which you don't even play. And like the par times on these are like all 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has one of those things where I've noticed it with movies a couple times, movie series. It's like each sequel usually gets bigger in scope, and it's weird when they go backwards. So like Toy Story 4 is like a really small movie, and I think that a lot of the hate on Toy Story is like they're just expecting a bigger story, and then Toy Story 4 is like about one character's journey, and it's in this like little playground and house area, and that's it. The movie doesn't go past that very much. And I kind of feel that way about Halo 3. It just feels like a smaller thing than what you're expecting. You're expecting, like, because Halo 2 was so much bigger than Halo 1 in its scope. And then Halo 3, it's like, should be matching Halo 2, but it doesn't. It kind of shrinks itself
But
down.
see, the same thing
like,
goes-
literally, the length of it is just shorter.
See, but the thing is, you go to more places in Halo 3, though. But it is
Yeah,
shorter.
that's a good point, but it
like,
doesn't feel that way. I don't
exactly.
know,
Yeah,
yeah.
like, you're right, because it does. That's exactly
Yeah.
what I was going to get at.
The other
That's what
one
I mean,
would be-
though.
the other one would be Jurassic Park 3.
If this was in Halo 2 originally, Halo 2 would be
Right.
fucking perfect. But because it's like split off from it and it's kind of its own standalone thing at this point, not standalone, but like it is its own story, quote unquote. Yeah, it's fucking.
Yeah.
It kind of hurts it.
Yeah, well, I don't think it hurts it that much, though. I would like to,
Not
like,
that
to our-
much, but enough that like I'm willing to rate it
Yeah.
a 7.
Yeah, to the audience at home, I just want you to know, like, it's still good. We're just like,
Oh yeah,
we're
yeah, it's worth
we're
playing.
putting it up against
We're adults now,
1 and 2.
and like there's games that like are really really good now. Like we've had.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we've had a lot of good story games coming out, and like it's
Yeah.
things progress. Like, what's it? What back in the day we did this? I give it a 10
Probably.
or a 9. Like I'd
Yeah.
be like, oh, dude, fuck, this game's fucking awesome.
Well, you
Which it
gotta,
is.
you gotta understand too the context of like the hype built around this game being like finish the fight and everything. That
Yeah.
totally makes sense. I'm
Yeah,
sure
dude.
people were just creaming their fucking.
It was
jeans
because that
and-
was on the posters. That was on the Mountain Dew. That was on the Doritos. It was Master Chief. Finish fight.
Yeah.
It was hype. It was crazy.
And I think it
I think it
lived up
I
to
agree.
it. Yeah.
It finished. Yeah, it was a.
It
I
didn't
remember-
exceed expectations. It hit them,
which is still a win.
which is good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Story wise, I think I'd give it an 8.
8.
Yeah, I forgot how much I loved this game, and then played it. And I was like, fuck. And I was remembering things as we were playing. I'm like, oh, it's so great. So like, yeah, I give it an 8.
I'm gonna give it a 9. I think it was awesome. When I was finishing the fight, I did say on the chat when I was playing with those guys, I was like, I think this is definitely peak Halo.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah, I think
I would agree with that actually.
story, gameplay, everything in this, I think, is the best that Halo has, in my opinion. Even the story. Honestly, I was considering giving it a perfect score, but
You think so?
I was yeah, I was
I'm not-
fucking
I-
down.
when I'm saying, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Like when
Yeah.
I'm playing the story, I don't think there's anything wrong with the story.
Yeah,
It's just that
I like the Johnson sacrifice. I'm super glad they killed off.
Miranda.
Yeah, Miranda. She was annoying.
Hey, we're reviewing 2 games this week where there's Mirandas in it.
Yeah, and they
you're
kill
right.
them off.
Except
in
for,
both
sorry, one is Miranda, if you listen to...
Miranda.
What's his name? The builder guy. I can't remember his fucking name right now.
I don't know either.
Heisenberg.
Yeah, Heisenberg. Miranda.
That
Yeah.
fucking bitch.
Yeah.
I drew a picture. I drew like a picture of him like really tiny saying Miranda.
Yeah, so I think this is a great game. I really like the story. I thought the part where you join forces with the flood was fucking sweet. I think it's. I mean, I'm a big sucker for the payoff. Like,
Well, and you're constantly like
Elements.
changing allegiances in this game because it's like there's that one part where you join with the flood to kill the prophet of truth, and then there's like a part where like the robots are helping you, but then there's like a part immediately after that where they're against you.
Well, it's because you kill the
Water
guilty
gun.
spark. Yeah, you kill the guilty spark, and then they turn on you. The last level, you start like
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just like this constantly changing dynamic between like you and every other faction in the story, and I think that's super cool.
yeah,
I do love like the big epic like warthog run at
Dude,
the
and
end.
like, well, like
yeah.
things are like falling and crashing, and like
yeah.
things are exploding, and you're falling down holes because it explodes in front of you. Like,
Based
it
on
was
the
like annoying,
Warthog
but
run
it's
from
fun.
Halo 1, on paper, that one should suck, but it's way better. Like, we're going to do the Warthog run from Halo 1 again, except this time we're going to have a bunch of shit falling down from underneath you, and it's like, if you'd only played the Warthog run from Halo 1, it's like, that sounds like a fucking nightmare, but actually this one's super
Yeah,
epic.
and you play it, and
really
you're
well
like,
made.
but I think like the best part of it is it gives you that urgency to get to the dawn, but as well as it's like, oh shit, like we might do this. Like you're like, you got into it. Like I got into it. I'm like, fuck yeah, we're finishing this. We've done this. Let's go.
Yeah.
Dude, it's great.
And like there was a moment there where like one of the giant things falls down and like smashes a bunch of panels like in front of you, and I almost like I turned too late, but I
Yeah,
almost
he goes, hey, is this where we're supposed to go?
Nope.
It's very fun. I was like, no.
Yeah, I died a few times there.
I was telling him when I first played the game, this is like a vivid game memory of mine. It's like I hit the jump and I was like, yeah, like going straight, and the one like 2 of them fell right where I was landing. I was like, fuck,
Jump out! Jump out!
went through it.
There was
telling him,
only
too,
one instance where a panel like fell out from under me as I was driving onto it. Like there was no way I could have seen it coming. But other than that, yeah.
I was telling him like one of my favorite fan theories is like, because you know when you're driving and like there's warthogs like every few like platforms. I'm like my fan theory is Sergeant Johnson was like, that's why he didn't help you like that much on like running up the terrace, because he was like driving one at a time, like he'd run back and grab another one.
Gonna go set this up for cheap.
He just kept like parking.
I know what's gonna happen.
I'm gonna die, I know it, and they're gonna fall apart.
Yeah, and I thought the ending was fucking awesome. You know, you blow everything up, you stop all the shit from happening, and then he just goes cryo sleep and says to
Yeah.
wake me up
Well,
later.
like
It's
as a
awesome.
kid too, like it was really sucky. Like
Wake
playing
me
the
up
first
for
time
Halo 4.
because the shit breaks apart, and you're like you're as a kid, you're like, no, like I just beat the game. Is this? Are you fucking kidding me?
gonna
And it
die?
like goes back, and then he
Yeah.
crashes.
Yeah,
I think the whole ending too is good because like I don't I do agree, like feel like it was like perfect because like you take Truth out, you shut down the Covenant because they can't do anything because they won't do anything without their leadership. Flood's gone because you activate the Ark and stuff, and you get to Earth and it's just like you're like, oh, they're like the what is his name, Shipmaster, the dude that Ron Perlman plays where he's like, I can't forget what your kind did to mine, but thank
Master
you.
General, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, it's like it's like, well, they still have a really shaky alliance, even though they helped him like finish us off. They're still just kind of like, you kind of fucked us over the first time. So
yeah, and
we're not gonna forget that, but thanks. Like,
yeah. The ending is a little bit of a cliffhanger, but to me, it's not. It's as much of a cliffhanger as like the end of God of War 3, where
you see the blood trail.
where he's dying and then you watch the
Well, it
credits.
provides closure while leaving it open for more sequels.
Exactly,
Yeah, right.
yeah. Which I think is the best way to do it, because then it's not even they have to come back and make more. It's if they don't, then you can, they can make people can write books about it. You can make a big fan thing where it's after Halo 3 if they wouldn't have done 4 or 5 Infinite,
Which
and
I don't
beyond.
know if they would have if Microsoft didn't.
They might have been
wasn't
done.
part of that, yeah.
They might have been done.
Because Bungie has just left series before. Like they've been like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I mean, God of War.
No more marathon.
That was the thing they said. It was very specific, so I knew they were going to make more.
They said the story that ended in God of War 3 is over, and I was
Yeah.
like, it's oddly specific. Means we're gonna have more. And then they did do a prequel, and then they did the reboot. Obviously,
So
Yeah.
good. God of War 4.
yeah.
I'm gonna replay that before the end of the year. Like that's all
Before the new one comes out. When is it supposed to come out?
next year.
What
I
time?
don't.
I did recently get like all the God of War games.
On what? On what?
Used. So, like whatever they're on. Like I got the God of War collections on PS3, and then I got the God of War 4 for PS4.
Oh yeah.
I
You should take the God of War collection, Joe. You should take
Yeah.
that and play it. Yeah, I think you'd like this.
I don't know if I'll have time.
Probably not
we'll
now.
have to make it a review if I do that,
I beat
which
God
I
of
think
War
we might have
4.
already done. God of Wars.
And I think I have Ascension
No?
from like PlayStation Plus or something.
You could play 4 too on yours and get the PS5
I've played
update.
4.
Okay.
I've played 4. And it's one of the greatest games I've ever played.
Dude,
in
so
my life.
I beat 4 on the hardest one. They gave me God of War for that first one, and I want to go back and play it on an easy.
I have not played I have not played a second of another God of War.
Dude.
The only God of War I've played is the most recent one, and I'm telling you, I was blown the fuck away
Dude,
by it.
well, but I mean, I'd say I was too because like it's a completely
Yeah.
different playstyle from the 1, 2, and 3, and it's great.
Yeah,
But I
Yeah.
also want to go back and not swear at like Alfheim fighting those fucking elves because I did play it on Give Me God of War, and I was so pissed the entire time I was playing that game.
It's hard. That's why I turned it down. I was getting too mad. It was
So,
taking forever.
Oh no, dude! I did it, and I was just like so mad, and I still love it. So I want to go back and play on a little easier one, and then enjoy
just to
my
enjoy
realm.
the game.
Yeah, enjoy it with my son. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm just gonna go and be like, all right, we're good.
Yeah, there's so much stuff to explore in that game. It's so cool.
I actually did break a controller playing that game.
Jesus,
I launched that fucking.
That's
controller.
expensive. That's an expensive proposition.
It was the first one, so I had like more like backups, but like. It was the one where you get in the elevator and you're going through the different realms and like you just get mobbed.
Yeah.
And you die and you start back in the fucking first realm and does it again. And like I was on that for like 2 hours
Oh.
because I would like hit something and go in and then I would just get like a cheap shot in the back and I was just like,
I was screaming at the Valkyries, and then I was screaming
Same.
at the little challenge arena where you had to not get hit. I was like
Yeah.
shitting my pants.
Oh, dude,
I was
it's-
so mad.
the Valkyries too. I'm like, you fucking bitch! Are you kidding me? Like, oh, dude, yeah, I feel you.
So
that and the dragons were pissing me off too.
Yeah.
So I did the side mission to release all.
so back to Halo 3.
Oh, sorry.
Uh,
Halo 3, a
Halo
review
3
of God of
Halo
War 4.
3 campaign. Here's what I noticed about it, because the gameplay is basically the same. Basically. As Halo 1 and 2, it's like a low-gravity first-person shooter with all these very colorful weapons and
better weapons, though.
creatures that you have to fight against. There's new ones, of course, that come out with Halo 3. It has everything that Halo 2 has, and Halo 1, because the one gun, the assault rifle that was fucking missing in Halo 2 is back.
They
and
also
everyone
brought-
shit
Thank
themselves.
God.
They also brought back the Halo 1 pistol.
They did, but it's weaker, so it's somewhere in between the Halo 2 and Halo 1 pistol.
Yeah.
But what I think, besides the Cortana level, which I think was just
Brutal.
over the top brutal.
Yeah, it took us a while.
The Flood were definitely the hardest enemies in this game by far.
Yeah.
Like, by
The,
far.
the
yeah, when they
Flood
have a
were
shotgun,
much more
it's
difficult.
like, come on, really?
yeah, you're like, oh, 2 shots? Fuck you, Kate.
The Flood were much more difficult, but the Covenant was easier, I think, probably than Halo 2. But I think overall, it's like they've tried to take all the weapons and they did balance it out more in Halo 2, but I think they even polished it more in Halo 3, including making the sword kind of weaker.
Yeah,
They gave you a
it's
hammer
better
that was
too.
pretty awesome.
The grav
but-
hammer was good, but it didn't
Yeah.
do shit to the Flood like it didn't do. as much
Yeah,
damage,
and what
too.
was interesting about Halo 3, which was less so about the other two games, was like everything you were fighting against, it's like the weapon you have wasn't quite the right weapon.
Yep.
And it was like that was another kind of gamifying a different aspect of it. Like if you had the sword in Halo 2, until the sword thing ran out, basically you
best
were
weapon.
a god. You were
Yeah.
just like flamp, flamp, flamp.
Yeah.
And you were
Well,
just
they
like
it gives you the sword a lot in 2. Because
It
you play the
does.
gun, it's like, oh,
because
here
you're
you go.
you're
And
now
like,
the Covenant, and that sword in Halo 1, if you were a Halo 1 player, like that
Yeah.
was the scary
The
thing.
gold elites
when
had 'em, yeah.
When the elites, the invisible elites or whatever came out and they had a sword, you're like, oh shit! Like, so getting the weapon in Halo 2, like there was a bit of that anticipation, like we get to use the sword. And Halo 3, you don't have that anymore because of course you played Halo, so they just balanced it out, and I thought that was really cool. I think it might in a certain way there's a funness from Halo 1's like kind of over the topness with some of the weapons and the vehicles that I love in its own way, and that's a 10 out of 10 gameplay for me. I think Halo 3 might be a 10 out of 10 gameplay for me too, just because I think it's Halo and it's really well balanced, and it's just really solid. There's not a flaw in the gameplay. I think the campaign is also really good. It's not as sit there and wait as Halo 2 was, which was kind of my only complaint I had about the campaign in Halo 2. It's somewhere in between Halo 1 and 2 in terms of like the pacing of the campaign itself.
Yeah.
And then the multiplayer, I think, is just, it might be perfect. It might be perfect.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
I'm going to mirror your 10 for that gameplay, though. I agree with you 100%.
8-4? You sounded like
No, yeah, this is a definite 10 for gameplay. When you were saying, like, when Schwartz was saying this is peak Halo, that's what I meant. Like, I think this is, like, the definitive, just in terms of pure gameplay feel, this is the definitive Halo.
Sorry, go on with gameplay, too. Like, certain bosses, like the Scarabs, right? So you fought a Scarab in 2.
Oh, yeah.
I like how they changed it up in this one, where it's like they're mini bosses, but they're still difficult, and you still have to hit that G spot on there.
Yeah.
Like,
you gotta get in there.
Yeah, like, so we had times like where we were, I think A4 died on this one, but we went through and like went in and like blew it up, and I ran out, and then he's like, hey, what's going on? And like, because like the alarm wasn't going off yet, and then it just blew up and took him out. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Scarabs. There was the first time a Scarab showed up. It took me a while to figure out how to kill it.
So what I used to do, like, I remember from playing Halo 3, I tried to do it on this one, but I couldn't really get, like, they were moving too much, is I'd drop the Hornet down, and I'd drop out of it so it'd land, and I'd take it out, blow it up, jump in a Hornet, and then fly off to the next one. But I couldn't get it in this one. I was really upset.
Yeah,
it was so fucking bad.
The first time I almost took it out, there was like a spot where you could drive your Warthog up, and I drove it up, and I like launched myself onto the Scarab.
Yeah.
But I died. And then I noticed the giant ladder, and then we just walked onto it. But that was so fucking cool. I was like, all right, come on, we're doing this. And he walks up, and I just fucking haul ass and jump out, and I'm in there.
Nice.
So
and
that
I just
one,
get blasted.
A4 was like on the mongoose taking out the blades, and I was like sniping from the top of that roost. And just like it was fun. It was good. Like
That was the one I did.
definitely.
It's crazy when that first Scarab like climbs over the wall.
Like, there's
wherever
something
you're at,
big
you're at like the
coming.
beach, and there's like a big wall there, and it just climbs over it, and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah. So boss fights in this game, and I would count that as a boss fight.
At least the first.
They're really like Halo 2 wasn't quite that way. I felt like a boss would show up, and I was like, "This is a boss." And like you just like kill him.
Yeah.
Or you're just like, why isn't this guy dying that
Right.
fast? There was one of those two things. But this one actually felt like, and I remember like, and one of the complaints I had about Halo 2 was like the ending where it's like, that's it. That's
Yeah.
the guy we're gonna fight, and that's gonna be
Tartarus is
it.
kind of a fun boss. Like, I think my favorite boss in Halo 2 though, sorry, is I didn't get
It's
to be
just
on the review.
anticlimactic to me, but this was climactic. Yeah, they had like the big scarabs and then the 343 guilty spark and the weapons you have there and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Dude.
I thought, yeah, that was another great aspect of the gameplay. That in
The guilty spark
campaign,
fight
that was great.
feels a little more climactic just by virtue of it. Like you're shooting him and nothing happens, and then you have to like get Johnson to give you the Spartan laser to finish him off.
Yeah, and there's also like you're trying to move forward and you're being pushed back and shit like that. Like
That got pushed off.
Yeah,
the thing.
I got
You
pushed
had to
off.
watch like
And
the
then,
hole.
yeah, so
where
what
he
I
fell
saw
in.
for that whole last bit was the hole that I fell down. And I was like, fuck this game. Like, the one thing I didn't like about it is like when you died, it's like, oh, you have to wait for it to spawn. It's like, hey, once you hit a certain point, like any other game, like now, like with like multiplayer now, just spawn me back in. Don't make me sit there and wait. Like, just do it, because like I fell down that hole because I jumped up and he did a thing and it threw me back. So I was trying to get closer to him, and I fell off. And I was like,
so that'd be in the co-op, couch co-op kind of thing.
yeah. So I was like,
The co-op thing is so fucking weird in all these games, because like for Halo 1 and 2 Remastered, they added so you can see the other player doing what they're doing, but only from like a top-down angle for some reason. You can't change the camera. And in this one, you just look at your dead body, and it just tells you to wait until the coast is clear.
And that's weird.
And it's just like, okay, that's like,
well,
why
so
can't I
Halo
see what
original
my
Halo
co-op
1 and
partner's
2 didn't
doing?
have that. Original Halo 1 and 2 was you stared at your dead body. I think it was Halo 4, or was it, no, maybe it was ODS. I think it was ODST implemented that so you could like look around. But so the original Halos didn't have that. You were just like,
No, I get it, but it's like, why wouldn't that get added in? Because it just
Well, they
feels like,
didn't- they
okay, I
didn't-
don't even know what's going on outside of what's happening
well,
in
they
my dead
didn't
fucking body.
They didn't
like,
remaster 3. Like 1 and 2 got remastered. They didn't
Yeah,
remaster
and
3.
No, I know,
Three
but
is-
like
this
for
is the
any of
original
them, like I
version.
mean, like again, 1 and 2 having that added in, but it's like, why can I only see it from this one really unhelpful fucking camera angle? It's stupid.
I don't know. Nah, that doesn't really bother me that much. That's like a little Just a little.
Yeah,
thing.
if you didn't die like a bitch, it wouldn't be a problem. I guess.
I think the difference is like I think that might be one of those things that Call of Duty started implementing is like the kill cam thing,
Yeah.
kind of making you like be more entertained while you're sitting there dead. So maybe they started implementing that with ODST because that game was out. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it could be. 100%.
I don't know, but that's I suspect. I think this, perfect gameplay. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get
Great shooter.
Yeah, no, it's a definite 10. This is probably the best online shooter that there is. Even now, playing online is still a great time. I mean, they took all of the greatest hits from Halo 2, and they brought them back in like a remastered, like new age, different looking map. So we got Lockout, the purple snow map from 2, and then they just made it like a steel, like just warehouse looking thing, and the exact same layout. Yeah. Awesome map. They took the greatest ones from the previous games. They brought back the guns. It's got the greatest hits of guns. Got the Halo 1 assault rifle, the Halo 1 pistol, more or less, and then the Halo 2's BR. Like, that's all you really wanted. Like, Halo 2, that's the shitty part about 2. It's like I get the best gun in the series, but I also lose the second and third best gun in the series. So it, like, kind of sucks.
Yeah, I really missed that assault rifle when I started Halo 2 for the first time. I was like, where's my assault? What is this SMG thing that goes like
sucks.
this?
Yeah, it does. Dude,
why does it shoot up?
Sorry, dual wielding those does fuck up the flood. That was really fun.
Yeah, but it's so weak compared to...
But if you hate that gun, you never try that, Zach.
Nah, dude, I thought I loved it. I thought it was fun. I just like the little like pops. I just like I like the sound on it.
Yeah, I think the levels, this was a definite increase for me. Gameplay wise, it's a lot faster. The levels are smaller. I think the campaign is, in my opinion, I think it's kind of tighter than 2. Maybe
I would agree.
Tighter.
It's tighter.
Yeah.
It's tighter.
Maybe that's the scope thing because it's more like, hey, now we're just doing this thing.
Yeah, Halo 2 just felt like, oh, you thought it was epic in Halo 1? You have no fucking idea.
Grab your
fucking monster, bro.
Get your Mountain Dew game fuel and...
I'll admit I missed some of that. But okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. 3, it was fast. And like the night we beat it, we did like 2/3 of the game in that night. And I was like, it was like 1:30, and I was like, guys, we should beat this game tonight because we were like 2 levels away. And then of course we did the Cortana level and like, fuck. It was
12 hours later.
Yeah, it was so fucking hard, but I was in, man. And I love that thing. And the Brute Hammer, I think you're crazy. That on Legendary, that thing is fucking awesome in that area. It's so sick.
Yeah.
And it was just nothing but like...
Yeah, in that area, you need the hammer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In that area, it's nothing but like find a shotgun, a sword, or a hammer, and just hope to God you can live. And even with 3 of us, like that level took a while. It was fucking rough on Legendary.
Yeah, I believe it was rough on Legendary. It was rough on normal, and I turned it to easy. I was not doing this co-op.
Yeah.
I was just there on normal, and I'm like, I don't have that much time today.
I know, yeah.
And I gotta beat this thing. I think I was on that level for like 2 hours, dude.
Jeez.
It was bad. Like there was a couple spots where I was just I had to start playing really conservatively because if I didn't, I would have to like run forward and just be blown up.
Yeah,
like,
and Halo, the thing about 2 that made it one of the things that made it so fun is just how fucking fast it was. And 3, because of the hardness of that level, you do have to kind of like take it.
That's
slow.
the one level where I feel like that's actually a thing. The rest of the game, I don't think even comes close to that.
Yeah. How long do you guys think it took you to beat it? Because I tracked my time.
I didn't track mine.
7 or 8 hours, I want to say, and that might be generous.
Mine was 5 hours and 20 minutes.
I was gonna say 6, probably.
Because we only played for 3 nights.
Yeah.
And I got interrupted the first night. Was it the first or the second night? Because we had a tornado watch, and Corey was freaking out. She's like, "Come down to the basement."
Dude, the best part is we're playing online, and we're in like our little one of the chats, like the art chat that we're usually in. We're playing, and it goes off, whatever, and he's talking shit because you can hear him talking to his girlfriend, and he's like, "I'm not going downstairs. Like, it's fine. We're gonna be fine." And so then we're sitting there. Then he stops playing, and I'm like, "Oh shit! Did the tornado get him?" and I hear this. No, I'm here. And I was like, "Are you on the phone?" And he's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Do you have to go to the basement?" "Yes." And so we couldn't. Yeah, then we had to like stop. So
Wait, was there actually a tornado, or was it just tornado watch?
It was a tornado warning, which we never get. So I get where she's coming from with that. but it was like I'm in the middle of something.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck off, Tornado. We're playing Halo 3, you bitch.
That's the hard part about living like on the Panhandle in Florida is you get
them all the time.
You get hurricanes and tornadoes all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And like there is.
And it's going to be underwater in like 100 years. So.
Yeah. Thank God. It deserves it.
Thank God.
You know, we could probably build seawalls to hold it at bay. I mean, honestly,
Yeah, it worked one time.
it's gonna be expensive as fuck. But
Can.
Then they broke.
that would look so awesome from the
It's a
air.
different
You got like a fucking state that's like half of it's covered in shadow because there's this giant wall holding back the sea.
A giant, like that big.
Oh yeah, like a huge, great wall. We're gonna make
The greatest
We're gonna
great
make
wall of Florida.
We're gonna make the fish pay for it. Just made out of like fish bones and
Oh
fish
my
paste.
God, yeah.
Hurricane Jose is gonna pay for it.
Yeah,
Poor Florida.
I know. They did. I hate that place. It deserves it.
Yeah, dude, those people are invincible. If anything is gonna sink, they're gonna become mer people. Nothing kills Florida people.
Yeah.
Florida man is eternal.
Yeah, things have tried.
I saw a Florida Man board game the other day.
Oh, nice.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a
Jesus
trivia
Christ,
game
really?
where
Oh
you
my
have to
God.
guess whether or not it's a real story.
Oh, I was hoping it's like a board game where it was like,
Yeah, it's a well. I don't know.
as you like go through and like that'd be cool when you like level up. Like
Level up your
D&D.
Florida Man.
Yeah, as you like, it's like you drink bleach, and it's like you should roll, you survive plus 3D armor.
You keep an alligator in your pond.
Yeah, it dies. You get its skin as armor. And just like keep going.
Yeah, no, perfect gameplay.
Perfect game. I like for someone who's. I don't know why you wouldn't have played this game. Like it was such a ubiquitous thing. Like everybody was. At least
I don't
in
know.
our
I
age
know
group
I'm playing
was
this game.
it.
Didn't play it till he was an adult.
No, I just feel we have a heavily RPG listener base here, and so like, kind of have to convince them that like this is one of the greatest gaming experience you will ever have.
Yeah, I mean, Krinital,
Yeah, that's
he blew through all of them, and that tells you something. I mean, he's a
Yeah.
super RPG nerd. you
Yeah.
know, and he loved it, as far as I know. I mean, he was having a great time.
He just messaged like, "Fuck you, Schweiss. It sucked."
He beat one. We like kind of got him a co-op partner for one or two of them, and then he just blasted through and beat everything. And it was
It's
over.
also like got a pretty rich world and story, and so I mean, it's not to the level of some of those RPGs, I think, or some of the more modern games, but I think it's really solid for when it came out. And that multiplayer is still some of the funnest ever, and it's great on PC. On the Master Chief Collection, it's just great. And I'm like, why even invent another type of shooter? Like, I have no idea. When Call of Duty came out, I'm like, nothing can actually be better than this, right? And those Call of Duty little guys, I still don't get them. Like, it's a fun game. Call of Duty multiplayer is great.
I mean, I think like I don't know.
I mean,
Modern
Halo
Warfare 2
versus
kinda, like,
Halo
was
3
better.
multiplayer.
It's like a faster, different thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like what it is. Like, it's what you want, because like you get people that play Call of Duty but don't play Battlefield, but play Battlefield not Call of Duty because Battlefield is
It's like-
different. There's bullet drops.
It's like
and
the difference between like
what
Magic
I'm
the
saying, it's
Gathering
different.
and Yu-Gi-Oh. They're both card games, but they play differently. Like they're for different strokes for different folks. You know.
Why don't you do the two card games that are actually played by people, Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic? Why Pokemon?
Pokemon's
I just said Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic.
What do you got
You're
in your
saying, why are
sippy
you
cup today?
playing
A4.
He's got his Yugi beer.
You said Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon.
I thought he said.
Well, I don't know anyone who plays. Okay, I'll say it again. Every time I go to the fucking cards, every time I go to the card section of the store, Pokemon's completely gone.
Did you say
Yu-Gi-Oh is
Magic? And I
mostly
just
gone, and
heard you
Magic
say
is
Pokemon in my
on
own
the shelves
brain.
entirely. No one's buying Magic the Gathering.
That's not true. There's more Magic players than there are Pokemon. and Yu-Gi-Oh players.
There's
Well, they ain't
probably-
buying the packs. That's for damn sure.
Well, I think they've just mastered the market, so they have enough for people, whereas Pokemon doesn't have enough.
Yeah.
Because of the
that's a
craze
good
that's
point.
going on.
Yeah.
Although we have a bunch of Pokemon
Maybe.
cards. I mean, Jace has been like trying to tell us he's going to sell them to people. So I mean, I don't know.
should,
If
let
you guys want to buy some cards, I guess we got.
I don't. I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
if he's
I'm
got
gonna
a
rip
fucking
your kid
alt
off.
art Shadow Rider Calrex VMAX card, then yeah, I'll
Have
fucking
you
buy it
ever
off him for
seen?
$5.
Have you ever
What the
had
hell?
$5 before?
Yeah, dude. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, I'll trade you these 7 cards for your 1 card. And they're like, what?
I did that with a Charizard
This is
back in the day.
more.
Yeah.
This is more. Don't you see?
But I was the one who was trading the Charizard
Yeah.
and getting 7 cards, and then I like regretted it immediately. But whatever.
You were the one that didn't read Jack and the Beanstalk.
Idiot.
No, there were good cards in it. Like it was like a Gyarados and a Blastoise. They were like pretty good cards.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what's
next?
Music, graphics, sound and music.
You hated Miranda,
I don't. She was worse than Halo 2.
which we've
but-
heard from the last podcast. You make fun of women and make them cry.
Yeah, that's why.
Chief, I need to get down to the cabin. She sounds like she has like narcolepsy. Like she's gonna fall asleep at any moment.
She's just not a very good
Chief.
voice actress. I think it's really what it is.
Chief, come on.
But no, and she wasn't in the game that much in this one, so it didn't really bother me. There was no like scene where I was like, oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Except when you find out her and Johnson were lovers. When she died.
Chief, why don't you just open up your cod piece and let me see your mega cock, Chief? I had to do
Give me that
voice.
Forerunner seed.
Yeah.
Forerunner.
She's a forerunner too, dickhead. Like all humans are like.
So, music and sound. I had my headphones on. I thought it sounded great. All the classic kind of sounds of Halo soundscape. Nothing wrong with the mix like there was in Halo 2's Anniversary Edition or anything like that.
Yeah, this one was loud as fuck and it meant it.
Yeah, but you could hear everything, so that was nice. So the mix is good, and frankly, the music is top tier. Top tier. Like they took the Halo music and then they just made it. They classed it up. I would say when I read that they put like a full orchestra on this, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They classed it up and they also added like a newer piano theme to it, which I love. So it's just like dun, dun, dun. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And
It's a Cortana's theme every time she talks. Chief.
ding, ding, ding.
That piano. Yeah.
And I remember the trailer for this game, if you guys remember
Yeah,
that. It was
I
like
do.
the still image and like the 3D model kind of thing.
It zoomed
And it was
around.
just like
The Believe campaign. Yeah.
it was just the octave hit on the piano. It was like bang. Oh,
Yeah.
it was beautiful. It was a beautiful setup for it, and the score delivered. 10 out of 10 sound of music for me.
Yeah, same. I'm gonna mirror that as well. Talking about the trailers though, those live action trailers they did back in the day, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 10 too. Even though I couldn't stand her voice acting, it didn't really matter.
Dude,
Plus,
so I went on IMDb to see if she'd done anything else because I was like, who did it? She's only got like 7 credits,
Oh.
which is more than my 0. But like, I was just like,
barely.
it's like
7 more than
well, I was like
0.
hoping. I was hoping that like she had something that was really, really good. I'm like, oh, you like this game? Like that's her voice.
Yeah, you're hoping it was going to be like chick who plays Captain Marvel. What's her name?
Brie Larson.
Brie
It's
Larson.
going to be a Brie Larson, where it's like, well, she's not always terrible.
Sometimes she's great.
Just half the time.
I just feel like she didn't care about Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Oh,
Just like everyone else.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
She
shit.
posted this set of pictures.
I don't wanna
of
talk
her
about
walking
Brie
in the woods
Larson
with, like,
right
a
now.
really weird outfit that was
Me and
like
you are
a
on the
green
same side,
leotard
we
with like
kinda
a
like,
golden
yeah.
net around it. She's like, I'm hiking through the woods and you see me walking like this. What you do? And I just said, turn gay.
Yeah, I saw some funny responses to that. I didn't realize it was her for a minute. I was like, who's this? And then I looked at the Twitter thing. I was like, oh, yeah. I'd be like, what the fuck are you wearing? Did you get caught in a trap, fish trap there? I don't
By
know.
the way, if it wasn't obvious, 10 out of 10 for music. and sound
Okay,
for me
all
as
right.
well.
I was waiting for you to fucking.
Yeah, soundtrack is fucking awesome. And like the very end, like that whole last sequence, from that brutal flood level to the end, like everything is like fucking crazy. And the music is super fucking loud. And it's not overpowering like in Halo 2 Anniversary, but it's like the primo mid spot, and the music just fucking kills in this thing. It's so fucking good. They've like perfected their own themes, and they've added the new little piano theme in, and like, yeah, man, and it hits right where it needs to. It's like Doom level awesome for the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Maybe not as
metal, but
it's not as like genre for me, but it's pretty peak for what
great.
it is. Yeah,
it's great.
graphics and design. What do you guys think about the look of the game?
Hasn't aged too well, I would say.
Yeah, Johnson's got bug eyes.
It is early 360, so they weren't really pushing the platform that much, I don't think. And there were some moments where like some things looked more high definition, and then they would have like some textures where it looked like if something was playing on a screen in the game. That's when I noticed it was like, oh, the graphics aren't very good right there. but like they'd stepped it up from the previous games, so that was nice. But yeah, this is early 360, so and I don't think they were really pushing it that much. The lighting effects look pretty good and generally hold up. Areas look beautiful. Like the actual levels look really good. I do think there's just some like things with the textures that haven't aged that well. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. It's generally pretty good for the time, but wasn't perfect for the time either.
All right, what about you, Zach?
I think it's really. I would agree. It hasn't aged too well. Some of their faces are fucking jank.
Yeah, a little bit. It's the same with the other Halos too.
Man, I don't know. Like, I thought it was kind of like cool / kind of lazy that they like did a bunch of paintings for stuff instead of like for some of the backgrounds.
Oh, okay.
It was just
they had pre-rendered backgrounds.
Yeah, it was like painting. And it's like here's your ship flying towards it. Like whatever. Like it was nice.
Well, you're just maybe noticing it more. That was another thing about like this is the tail end of before getting into total HD. Like Xbox 360 could do 720p, but most people at the time were still using the red, white, yellow cords because they didn't have a TV for that. So you would have been watching this probably on a CRT TV unless you were rich.
Yeah, you're right.
And if you were rich, by the way, fuck you. I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, I was on I plugged my auxiliary cables in like every other
That's right.
child at the time.
Yeah.
What did you give it?
I gave it a 9 out of 10. I think most of it's really good, and the art's still beautiful. Some of the human faces are weird and squampy like they have been in the other two Halos. Yeah. But also, like, there were some texture things that I noticed when we started playing where I was like, that really doesn't look good. And they would have been able to do a better job then, too, on some of those things.
I think, I'm going to give it a 9, too.
Okay.
Like, it's not, it's amazing, but it's not, like, the top tier that we've seen, for sure.
Yeah. What about you, A4?
I'm giving it a 9 just because Johnson's bug eyes weird me out.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Like, he constantly looks like you just told him you found his wife fucking another dude.
Yeah. I just think, like, the step up from 1 to 2, like, that was noticeable, and, like, 2 looks fucking, like, amazing compared to 1, to me. Like, it looks so much shinier and sleeker, and, like, the Banshees have these little, like, line designs. Like, everything's, like, more. And in this one, it's a little bit that way, but there are
lighting
some things
effects are more complicated.
Yeah, the lighting is way better.
And the environments in this game aren't as cool, I think, as, like, the environments were in 2.
You think so?
I don't know. I really like them.
I thought a lot of them, I mean, like, they're cool, but, like, a lot of them felt really brown and gray.
That's
like,
the complaint I had for 2, but I played a different version of 2. Played the original one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
I just think like the step up wasn't as high, especially considering that we're doing this is a new generation. Yeah. So I kind of see what you're saying, and like it wasn't as much oomph. Plus, I
would see what would be the peak of that generation. Final Fantasy 13, probably graphics wise. Maybe God of War 3. I've heard. I haven't.
God of War 3.
13's a good pick.
Yeah. As far as like
maybe Last of Us.
Looks really good.
Yeah. And how close is this to Last of Us? It's on that gen.
It's one. Is it one like tail end and one is like
like, I mean that's what you get when you get that. But I mean if 10
like in terms of just pure graphical fidelity, Last of Us is probably the peak. Just like because it's so realistic looking.
It's at the end of the generation when they know how to push the machine as far as it can go.
Yeah, it was,
and that's
of course. It was 6 years after.
That's when you get the beautiful game. So this just wasn't the peak of its generation in that way.
Still mind blowing though.
But it's still generally like a very beautiful and interesting looking game.
Yeah, honestly, I would say God of War Ascension probably looks better than 3.
Really?
I think so.
I haven't played 3 on the.
It's one of those games that like, and it's funny because it's the same studio that did that the Order 1886 game. They like to jerk off to their own graphics, and there's a few parts of the game where Santa Monica. Is it Santa Monica or is it
No, it's like Ready at
Dawn.
Or something.
Yeah, Ready at Dawn. Those guys like to jerk off to themselves a lot, and they'll be like, "Look at this environment. Look how cool it is." And you're like trying to fight as this fucking like ant-sized Kratos getting killed, and you're like, I don't care. I'm trying to stay alive. But yeah, I know what you mean, and that is a 6-year gap between the two. But I mean, even then though, like, it's I don't know. Maybe it is just the time it takes to get used to the new console, but it's like at that rate. I mean,
It's like
do you
these
need to pump it
programmers
out?
need to like when they're figuring out like what is slowing down the machine or whatever, and they have to take polygons out. I'm guessing. I don't fucking know. I'm not a game maker, but like when I'm guessing, like when they have to like troubleshoot shit and figure things out and figure out what they can put in the game graphically and what they can't because sacrificing gameplay or whatever.
Yeah.
All those decisions like. They don't know the machine as well.
Yeah,
Basically.
and it makes you wonder if they're getting it out because Microsoft needs a Halo for the new 360, or if they would have gotten it out fast anyway.
They do. What I read briefly, although I didn't read the full thing on Wikipedia, is that the development process for Halo 3 was a lot more smooth than Halo 2, so they weren't nearly as rushed on this one. So they had more time, but
yeah, that's what makes you wonder. Is like because I don't know. I mean.
But Halo 3 is not really known for its graphics or anything like that. It just was because it was the first one of its gen. So they were probably freaking out about the 360's graphics. But Halo, 360 had better looking games after this for sure.
Oh yeah. Last and most important for a shooter, I would say, category replayability. What are you guys going to give the replay value of this?
No, I already replayed it. I'll give it a 10 because I told you I would definitely go back and do it on like Legendary, even like multiplayer. There's so much shit to do in this game. Go back and find all the skulls. Go back and do all that stuff. Go back and find the
Yeah, I
Easter
only
eggs.
found one.
Because there's Easter. I knew where the one in the first level was, and I forgot to get it. There's a ton of random Easter eggs, like Rooster Teeth, like the red versus blue, has an Easter egg in the second level, like. Where they're arguing with each other, like going into like this guy walks up to a door and he's like, "Let me in," and the guy's like, "What's the password?" And he's like, "I don't." There's a password, and he's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Well, I don't have it," and he's like, "Well," he's like, "I don't need a password. Let me in." He's like, "Well, how would I know you're not being interrogated by brutes right now?" And he's like, "Do I sound like a brute?" And he's like, "Well, no, but that's what a brute would say he was trying to get in." Like it's just stupid shit like that. Like this is funny. But there's like random Easter eggs. Like there's plenty of reasons to go back and play this game, and especially if they patch it like 1 and 2 did with those like amazing brand new graphics, because God, they're beautiful.
Yeah, you want them to do a whole new remaster.
I just want to see the graphics in it because like they're just so.
You want Halo 5 graphics on this?
I've never played.
I want to see Johnson's eyes bugged out in 4K.
I want to see his face not look busted up like it does in this one. Like I don't know. It's just pretty. Like it's just like. I just really enjoyed the graphics.
The multiplayer is great and the campaign's great, and why would you not want to replay it?
Right, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely give it a 5 out of 10. No, I'm fucking with you. It's a 10 out of 10. No, it's perfect.
Like, what scale are you on?
This is one of those.
Kinsey scale.
This is one of the. This is one of the
5
best.
out of 10. Fairly gay.
Gamanjaro.
Yeah.
No, this is one of my most replayed games. Definitely up there. It's not as high as up as 2 because I played that a ridiculous amount. But
yeah, same.
it's just a wonderful experience with friends, or even in the campaign, or even better, friends in the campaign.
Yeah, 4-player co-op is fucking awesome. I'm super glad they brought that. We only got to do it once for the first couple levels, but it was still a lot of fun. The multiplayer is amazing. I've even just fired it up with no one else online, just myself. Just played some SWAT. Like it's super fucking fun.
Yeah.
And like I said, they got the greatest hits of the best maps of 2. 3 has some of the best maps itself. Like
Zanzibar.
Oh, that fucking one where I can't remember the name of it, but it's it rockets you up. It's like the long bridge, and it's like a crazy bridge, but also
you
there's
like fight each other while you're flying across.
Yes, that one's so great. It's probably my favorite Halo 3.
You don't know betrayal until you hit each other in the middle and you both fall.
Yeah, you both fall to your death. Oh,
me and Dead Islander, he made a game mode called Swords and Crack, which we turned up the speed like 200%, and it's just swords and hammers, and you're on that map. It's crazy.
No.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Swords and okay, I'm gonna play that.
We gotta figure out a time to do that.
Yeah, it was really fucking
I
nuts.
figured out I could hotspot on my AT&T, and Halo plays just fine multiplayer.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, I get 40 gigs of data, but we can do a couple rounds of Halo 3 for sure.
Yeah, we should get him on and do that.
Yeah.
Definite 10 for me on replayability. It's so fucking fun. This is probably one of the best online shooters out there.
Yeah.
Still, even now, and people still play it on the PC. Like you can get into a game pretty easily. It's a good time.
Yep. All right. Well, Schweiss.
That's a 10 for me as well.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I don't think he answered.
I thought it did.
Oh, good. It's a 10. Obvious. Like what? Again, he said this is peak Halo. This is what I mean by it. It's
It was-
fucking just a fantastic game.
I think culturally it was peak Halo. I don't think Reach,
Yes,
because by the time Reach came out, Call of Duty was kind of taking over the mainstay Halo or shooter.
Well, because
realm.
Reach kind of borrows from Call
Yeah.
of Duty stuff, like having Sprint be like one of your things and
Yeah.
all that jazz.
So that'll be interesting to kind of, because I've never played Reach
I haven't either.
and I've never played 4 or 5.
Yep. So the last one I played was ODST. So I haven't played Reach 4 or 5. So it'll
Yeah.
be or Halo Wars 2 or like Halo Wars, which they're going to play different anyway. But like, yeah. So I'm excited to get into. Like,
Yeah,
all
I'm
those
really
other
interested in getting into all that. Just
Re-
so you know, guys, we are retitling our podcast to Halo Clan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get ready to read the books, motherfucker.
Yeah,
I don't think you can actually have the word nude as your clan tag in the Master Chief Collection
Dang.
spelled correctly. I think it's NEWD. And I forget, actually.
Nude isn't.
There's
like
my clan
that.
tag on there for sure. So.
NEUD.
Nude.
Nude. All right.
So what else? Final scores, man.
Yeah, let's give us some scores here.
All right. So final scores for Halo 3 for the story. Zach gave it a 8. I gave it a 9. Joe and A4 gave it 7s for 31 out of 40 from that category. Gameplay 10s across the board. 40 out of 40. Graphics and design, 9s across the board, so 36 out of 40 possible points. Sound and music, 10s across the board, all 40 points. Replayability, 10s across the board for
Damn, this one's
another
going to be a high one.
40 points. And that equates to a 187 out of 200, which is a 93.5.
So 93.
93
out of 100.
And you know what? I listened to the episodes, and you made the claim
I know.
that we round down
We round down.
after you rounded up the week before,
I
and
know.
then later we rounded up as
I know.
well.
I
So
know.
I
I know I have fucked up many a time with this.
I agree with the reasoning for rounding down, but when I was listening to it, I was like, but he doesn't always round down.
I know. The official score we give has sometimes been wrong.
Yeah.
If I have ever said let's round up, I was wrong.
I
It's
have
1
also
point down.
said the wrong score a couple times myself, which I was like, wait a minute. Because I was doing the math in my head, sitting there doing the list, because I made a master list of like all of our rankings for games, and I was like, that math doesn't add up. And so I went back, and there were a couple where I actually said it wrong, and it was lower than it actually was.
Oh no.
So I won't tell you which ones, but we do have a revised list of all 106 reviews from Nude Clan, and Halo 3 resides as the 11th best game.
Of
so
all time,
3
according to Nude Clan.
Yeah. So the Halos are all in our top 20 according to our podcast.
Of course.
Halo is number 6. So, yeah, 93 out of 100. One of the best games out there. It's a lot of fun, guys. If you don't have it, get the Master Chief Collection. There's plenty of people still playing it. We've got listeners that are still playing it.
Again, it is the biggest no fucking brainer. You're paying $40 for 6 really good games and their multiplayer. So.
Yeah, and I've put a lot of time into this thing already. and
Yeah,
I'm not
recently
even-
too.
I'm only like halfway done with the series on there. We've still got ODST, we've still got Reach, we've still got 4.
Mm-hmm.
Only done 3 of 6.
We're gonna have to find a way to.
Gonna have to go find.
I forget what
some
my Steam
Xboxes.
account says my hours are on that, but it's easily like reaching 50 at this point.
Yeah, I think mine's like 55 or something. Which is pretty good. For $20 is all I spent on it. That's pretty fucking awesome. 20
Yeah.
to 30.
So,
Get it.
so guys, next week we will be reviewing Resident Evil Village, aka Resident Evil 8.
Woo! I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this one for a while.
And
You tried to do the fucking critical thing like perfectly. Woo! That's it, baby. That's what I've been waiting for.
so join us for that. Thank you so much for listening. You can join our Discord. The link is in the description below, wherever you're listening to this. There's also a Patreon. and we are actually going to do the giveaways.
Yeah. Toss
We
a
have
coin to your
10
podcasters.
We have 10 giveaways at the end of this month, so there's a very good chance that you're going to be getting your stuff if you're already a patron.
For context, if you join the Patreon, every dollar you join the Patreon for gets you a raffle point towards getting one of the games that we reviewed on the show, the physical copy.
It might be 11. I don't know, though. Yeah, I think it will be, because the way we record now. So what I did before, like I have December's drawing, but the way it was is it was always after the fact. So like December's drawing is actually November's Patreon, because they don't bill the November bill until December.
Got it.
So I actually have 11 to give out.
So those who stayed with us,
thank you.
yeah.
And you get to choose shit that wasn't even out when
That's
when
right.
this drawing happens.
That'll be at the end of this month. So join the Patreon, and the link will be in the description below. Count your hog, the games, the movies, whatever you've been consuming.
Hogib.herokuweb.com.
Thank you. That's in the description below as well.
Do your duty as well. I mean, I don't know why everyone's not obsessed with howlongtobeat.com. We constantly reference it, but nobody else gives a shit here.
Well, it's because we have to know how long it takes a game to beat,
Yeah, but when
not everybody does.
when the data,
I personally have been using Backloggery for a decade, so I use that instead of How Long to Beat.
please, does it tell you how long games are?
No.
Well, see, that's the whole fucking point. But see, the problem with how long to beat, there's not enough data. There's not enough data in
on
there,
the
so I
rare
have to-
games. Yeah, there's.
I
not
mean, yeah,
much.
my Halo 3 time probably doesn't fucking matter, considering there's 2,800 people who have logged their time. But
I could maybe make a account on How Long to Beat and fill in the times that I know I can.
and like
find.
I've been into it, man. I was like,
Did anyone actually count their real time in Resident Evil Village? Because my time is bullshit.
I did not.
You just sucked.
I counted the time that they put. It's not true.
It's not true. That time they tell you, I was like, oh, I've only been playing this for 2 hours and 45 minutes. The entire free time that I had between yesterday and today after work was only 2 hours and 45 minutes. Bullshit.
Yeah,
There was things like that in Resident Evil Village.
That's where it's hard. Where I want to put in my actual time, but I also know that during those streams I got interrupted a lot, and so I don't know what the actual time is unless I were to go through and cut out the parts where I left for a minute. So I just gave it the actual in-game time, which my justification for that being the way it is, admittedly, how long to beat for me, I want to use it to see like how long is this going to fucking take me in actual like real time, because that's what I have limited amounts of. But if the game has an in-game timer, then you could be like, well, I'm at 6 hours. This says 8, so I'm almost there. So I don't know.
Okay.
But, yeah, use it. There's not like looking at shit like Dawn of Mana, Heroes of Mana. There's like barely anything on there. No data. Devour. I mean, I had to add Lunch Lady for God's sake.
Oh, I forgot to mention Devour's getting a new map soon.
I had to
Yeah.
have lunch, lady.
Where Devour is coming out with a new map. Don't they already have a third one too?
I don't know. This one's called The Inn.
I think there's a third one, and then I think there's going to be one for Pacify too.
Wow.
So I might have to roll back in and.
And soon you just find out it's the same game. You start playing it, and like the next level is just like
It's just a-
level from the other game.
It's just Pacify's first level. You're like, man, this is really familiar.
Devour's doing a crossover event with Pacify.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, join us for that. I'm Joseph Iglia on Twitter.
I'm B Grixis on Twitter.
I'm at UFF Podcast.
I'm at A4 Extreme.
Oh, and follow the show at New Client Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, join the Discord. It's a great place.
Yeah.
Lots of good
Yeah.
times.
Just in case you didn't
We have
hear
the best Discord.
5
It's a great
times.
place. Good
join
people.
the Discord. We'll see you guys next week.
Live always in the nude.
Do you think that Cortana gave Master Chief wet dreams?
Walk with your gravity hammer held high.
She gave me wet dreams.